Tulsi tweeted something out in response to Ellen DeGeneres' video, uh, basically asking for everyone to kumbaya with George W. Bush. Well, not George W. Bush, but basically she was explaining why she was all kumbaya with George W. Bush and how we should accept people for even despite our differences, and we can only win with love and all that good stuff. And Tulsi's response to her video was this on Twitter: Ellen's message of being kind to all is so needed right now. Enough with the divisiveness. We can't let politics tear us apart. There are things we'll disagree on strongly and things we agree on. Let's treat each other with respect, aloha, and work together for the people. Now, admittedly enough, when you just read the tweet out loud without, if you read the tweet out loud in a vacuum without all the Twitter noise and all that good stuff and all the reactionism, it's consistent with everything Tulsi preaches. It is. And it's that mindset is one of the reasons that Tulsi has the base that she has. Now, here's the problem, though, with that tweet. You have to give context. You have to. Two reasons for that, Tulsi. One is because if you don't give context to that tweet, people will give context for you. And that's exactly what happened. I was like so confused because people were in my comment sections. I didn't initially see the tweet. People were in my comment sections telling me she defended George W. Bush. I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Well, that's what she defended. And it's always, I'm not going to say what side it was, but there's always that side that will extrapolate whatever narrative they want to denigrate Tulsi and delegitimize her. While constantly, by the way, ignoring the faults of the people that they choose to support. They could tell me that that she was defending George Bush. That's not what happened. It's not what happened. So let me be very clear about that. If you're going to try to convince me that she defended George Bush, that's not what happened. Now, here's the second part. Although you did not defend George Bush, I'm saying this from the perspective of just looking at it. If I was a person who has never watched a town hall, doesn't know much about Tulsi Gabbard, especially as a person, like if this person doesn't like you or thinks you're a threat, if I'm looking at it from that, I'm like, Ellen's talking about George W. Bush, and Tulsi is agreeing that we should practice love and aloha. She's agreeing with Ellen. Therefore, clearly Tulsi doesn't care about anything George Bush did to garner the hatred. And that's actually not what she's not saying that, but of course that's what people are going to extrapolate from that. That's why I say you can't put out a tweet like that and not give context. It's not that you are inherently wrong, but you have to supplement that tweet with, hey, Bush committed war crimes. Dick Cheney committed war crimes. Accountability. We can hold people accountable without, because specifically what Ellen was talking about, because I want to be very clear about that. We're complaining about war crimes. Progressives, independents, those who are like not just mad about the war in Iraq, but like we understand exactly what Bush and Cheney represented as far as the military-industrial complex and things like that are concerned. So like we're thinking war crimes. What Ellen is specifically speaking to is the partisanship behind some of the attacks she got. Because she's in the Hollywood bubble. That's a partisan, nonsensical, left-right dichotomy type of bubble. We're like, fuck the bubble, fuck the partisanship. Yo, this man committed war crimes. That's the part we're concerned with. So everybody's like responding to different aspects of this. And Tulsi, in my opinion, had a chance to contextualize this, but she missed the opportunity because and it's just who she is. She's more concerned about the aloha aspect. Now, I am in the camp of we don't normalize war criminals, period, point blank whatsoever at all. Nope. I'm not about it. I believe the normalization of war criminals is exactly why we continue to keep having unaccountable war criminal presidents. That's how people like Bolton end up in Trump's administration rather than ending up in jail. That's how people like Mad Dog Mattis end up in the Trump administration rather than ending up in jail. That's how Elliot Abrams can commit so many war crimes, almost damn near out in the open, that Ilhan Omar called out. And somehow he was not in jail, even though we fully acknowledge his war crimes. That is how, Bush's approval rating was low. Don't get it twisted. Bush's approval rating, he left out pretty. But think about it like this. Bush's approval rating was low. Obama's was high. And so from that perspective, I get what Tulsi is saying as far as the false dichotomy, because Ellen, by and large, I know in our little hyper-political bubble, we think that people were just more mad about the war crimes. No, they were mad because Bush is a Republican. They were mad because Bush tried to pass a constitutional amendment to stop LGBTQ community from having equal rights for marriage. Like, he had some problematic stances, not only on foreign policy, but on domestic policy as well. However, as far as the domestic policy is concerned, as far as like things like that, Obama, Hillary, Bill, basically everybody in the Democratic establishment, they were all against gay marriage. All of them. So, like, if you're going to use the partisanship to attack Ellen and Bush, then no, I don't agree with you. That's stupid, because you know how I feel about that. It's a false dichotomy. People think the Democratic Party is so much different than the Republican Party in a lot of ways, and it was not. It was not so much different. Once upon a time, remember, John McCain defended Barack Obama when somebody tried to call him a Muslim, and that's because, let's be honest, obviously Obama's not a Muslim, but they're part of the same team, people. It didn't matter if it was Bush who got elected, if it was Al Gore who got elected, Obama, or Hillary, or Trump. They were all going to bomb away. But why is that? And this is the part I hope Tulsi understands. It's because we normalize war criminals. Understand something. I was just as pissed when Bernie was literally defending John McCain by name. By going out of his way to people were celebrating. I don't want to say celebrating his death. They were just celebrating that he was no longer allowed to be an influence in politics. I'll put it like that. They weren't celebrating his death, but they were celebrating the fact that he could not influence politics in a negative way anymore. And Bernie was upset about that and called him a patriot and a hero, and AOC did the same thing. And I was the first one like, hell no, dog. Nope. Hell no. John McCain was just braggadocious about destroying brown people unapologetically with no rhyme or reason. And this is the facts. Why was he so confident that he could be unapologetic and braggadocious about killing brown people and bombing them? Because we've normalized war criminals. And oftentimes we've given them sympathy. We haven't just normalized them. We try to, feel, aww. Well, that was such a long time ago. Those millions of Iraqis would not know how long ago it was, because they're dead. We've normalized criminality, and we can't do that. So although I do get Tulsi's overall message, and I would tend to agree with her, we can't, for example, this isn't like me and Lee Stranahan for it. Lee Stranahan's a Republican. good friend of mine on fault. He's on Fault Lines with Nixon and Stranahan on Sputnik Radio. They start every day at 7 a.m. I strongly suggest you check them out and follow them on Twitter. I consider Lee a friend. Lee has come on my show and we have had 2-hour conversations where we agree on 90% of the issues. The 10% is why he considers himself a Republican and why I consider myself a progressive. And that's fine. That is absolutely fine. And I will treat Lee with love and aloha, even when we've argued in the past, because Lee is not a fucking war criminal. Lee is one of those who can be affected by those in power, rather than those who could set the standard, rather than being one of those people in power who set the standard and affect other people's lives. It's one thing, by the way, to ask for accountability, or excuse me, to ask for love and aloha. It's another thing entirely to pretend like there has been any type of accountability for what has been done. If you serve your time, then maybe we can get to the love and aloha part. And even still, when you're giving them their sentence, you can, hey, it's nothing personal. It's just, this is the law. You broke it. Go to jail, like you tell those black people to do. But we've seen there are two different rules. But this is, once again, it is consistent with just how, even when Tulsi was like just slamming Trump in her video in the super nice way, she was like, Trump, you know I'll never engage in any inflammatory and derogatory language towards you or your family. I never have and I never will. Like, she was so nice about it, but she was trashing that man in the sweetest way. That's just how she is. Because she doesn't have any hate in her heart and her soul. So she's almost like she doesn't know how to project any hate at all. She has empathy, but that's not the same thing as hate. But with that being said, hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Also, you can help us upgrade the studio and take this show on the road to cover the on-the-ground politics that you love by clicking on that GoFundMe link in the description and donating literally anything. Anything helps. Also, you can follow us on Rockfin, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. And hey, more than anything else, people, always remember, find your balance. Peace.